If you loved our last live stream in Saudi Arabia, then I've got good news for you because we are going to America, baby. And we are going to be live from Los Angeles inside the BMO Stadium as one of the greatest cards in boxing history takes place. And in the main event, the best boxer in the world, Terence Bud Crawford, challenges for his 4th weight world title against one of the hardest fights out there, Israel Madrimov. And the card is stacked with Andy Ruiz Jr., the man who dethroned Anthony Joshua, making his long-awaited return against Big Baby Miller. 600 pounds of heavyweight monsters colliding in the middle of that ring. We've also got the young superstar Pitbull Cruz defending his world title against Jose Valenzuela. Not to mention 2 of the best heavyweights out there in Martin Bakoli and Jared Anderson, putting it all on the line at a young age to find out who was going to be the future of the heavyweight division. Oh, and I forgot to mention the man, the myth, the legend. Eminem is performing multiple tracks live while I'm going to be on the live stream. I can't wait. It's going to be crazy. We'll see you there live August 3rd on the Pain Game YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Pain Game YouTube channel. We are reviewing UFC 304 today, where Leon Edwards lost his welterweight title to Belal Muhammad. Tom Aspinall defeated Curtis Blades in devastating fashion to retain his interim heavyweight title. And Paddy the Baddy Pimblett got on the rankings in the UFC by beating Robert Bobby Green, King Green, whatever the fuck he's called, the artist formerly known as Green, whatever he's called these days. And I'm going to break it down, and I'm starting with Tom Aspinall first, because before this fight, Dana White put a lot of significance on this event for him.
You know, this is an interim heavyweight title fight. Can you confirm the plan is the winner of Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades fights the winner of Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic?
Absolutely.
So when I heard that, I did have a laugh instantly, because Jon Jones has shown a level of fear towards another fighter that I've never seen him show once in his entire career. And Curtis Blades is one fighter who has some similar skills to Jon Jones. While I don't rate him quite as technically clever as Jones, I do think his wrestling is something that Jon Jones would have been sitting at home wondering, how does the wrestling give Tom Aspinall problems here? And the fact is, it gave him no problems, because the guy went to sleep before that even could come into effect. So if Jon Jones wasn't shit frightened of Tom Aspinall before this fight, I'm pretty sure this performance struck the fear of God into this man, because it was brutal. It was over in seconds, much like every single other fucking Tom Aspinall fight. And it's funny, because even today, I'm getting people tweeting me saying, well, what does Jon Jones need to be Aspinall for, to prove anything? What's he got left to prove? Are you fucking shitting me? Let's be clear. People are acting like Jon Jones's dominant title reign was at heavyweight. It wasn't. He's won one fucking fight at heavyweight. One. Against a perfect stylistic matchup for him. A one-dimensional guy who can't wrestle to save his fucking life. He has achieved nothing at heavyweight compared to Tom Aspinall. It's not even close. So we're not going to sit here and go on as if Jon Jones had an equal title reign at light heavyweight and heavyweight. Heavyweight is a whole different sport, in fact, to light heavyweight. And even at light heavyweight, Jon Jones never, ever looked as devastating as Tom Aspinall looks right now. Never. A quick look at Tom Aspinall's reign at heavyweight, and all of these are round 1. 1 minute, 1 minute 9, 1 minute 13, 15 seconds, 3 minutes 45, 2 minutes 30. Like, the guy is out here just wrecking fools. And these are all the contenders that Jon Jones is supposed to be fighting to defend his undisputed title that he didn't actually win off the other champion, because he spent however many years gaining weight, avoiding Francis Ngannou. Jon Jones has 1 win at heavyweight, and then before that, he went 5 rounds with Dominic Reyes, and I had Dominic Reyes, who has been on a horrendous streak since then, winning 3 out of the 5 rounds. He at least drew that fight, Dominic Reyes. That was a robbery. Thiago Santos outstruck Jon Jones on the feet. The guy is a fucking middleweight. You're telling me that Aspinall wouldn't be too quick and too powerful for this guy? Come off it, mate. You went 5 rounds with Anthony Smith. People are actually thinking that you can handle Tom Aspinall when you went 5 rounds with Anthony Smith. Oh my God, Tom Aspinall would bury him. This is too much data to ignore, and yet people just sort of ignore all of that. Imagine Anthony fucking Smith in a ring with Tom Aspinall. No disrespect, like, but fuck me. Feeding the lamb to slaughter springs to mind. You went 25 minutes with Jon Jones. That's the data. It's not even my opinion. It's staring everyone blindly in the face. But this love and this brainwashing of, oh, Jon Jones is the GOAT. He's the light heavyweight GOAT. Absolutely. I've got no problem with that. But Tom Aspinall is doing something right now which we've never seen before on this level. Not at this height. We've seen great heavyweights before. Fedor Emelianenko originally, then Cain Velasquez was dominant, then Stipe Miocic. Do you know what? And I love Cain Velasquez. Tom Aspinall beats them all, and actually, probably very quickly. The guy is just built differently, and I mean that literally. We have never seen an athlete at this level who is that big, that strong, who's that quick, who's that devastating. I've never seen anything like it. It's shocking. That little 1-2 on Curtis Blades, and then down, boom, 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 out, gone. There's no room for 25 minutes in an octagon with the level of Anthony Smith. There's no room for 25 minutes with Dominic Reyes, who wins more rounds than you. There's no room for that level of performance against this guy. One mistake, you're out. And Jon Jones is painfully aware of it, which is why, for the first time in his career, we're seeing him act like a pussy. And this is a shit stain on his legacy. Anyone who says otherwise, I'm never going to stop bringing this up. So yes, it is a stain, because I'm not letting this go. You do not get to go off into the sunset and physically run away from this Tom Aspinall fight without me bringing it up every single time on the internet for the rest of my fucking life. Every time people say Jon Jones is the GOAT, I'm going to say, but he ran away from Tom Aspinall, didn't he? So you can think what you want. I'm not letting this go. This is personal to me. Because part of the reason is because I see what I see, but also as human beings, Tom Aspinall is a great bloke, man. He's such a nice guy. Good family man. Jon Jones has his own children ring the cops on him because he's beaten the fucking mother up. He's a fucking wanker. And yet for some reason, the UFC want him to use him as this fucking poster boy. I've got no idea. Yes, he's a talented fighter. The way Dana White is just so dismissive of everyone else. Tom Aspinall's had 18 fights and they've lasted 40 minutes. In total, the whole 18. Jon Jones did more than that against Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith. Say no more. The guy is absolutely annihilating people. And the mad thing is, it is becoming expected of Tom. Like, Curtis Blades is a serious test, really good fighter, and a beast of a man, a huge fucking athlete. And yeah, I just sort of thought, yeah, he's just going to make it look easy. Because he always fucking does. He never longs it out. He never makes it hard work. He's skillful. But as an athlete, I have never seen anyone who's that strong and powerful and that fast. It is freakish. We've had freak athletes before. Brock Lesnar was ridiculously strong, but didn't have the striking. Francis Ngannou, a very big, strong dude, but not as quick, in my opinion, as Aspinall. Aspinall is so quick. And I think we're on the road to watching the greatest heavyweight of all time. And that includes Stipe, Cain Velasquez, Fedor, even DC, like great fighters, but they're nothing like him. It's not even close, in fact. And funnily enough, Dana has said that after the dominating win from Aspinall over Blades, he is now the backup for Jones versus Stipe. I'm like, backup? The guy's your defending champion. He ain't the backup for nothing. You can just imagine Jones sitting there praying every night that Stipe doesn't pick up an injury. There's no way Jones would take that fight last minute. There's just no way. He refused back in the day to take a Chael Sonnen fight at last minute when Chael said yes because Dan Henderson pulled out. He let the entire card go to shit. He ain't built like that. He never has been. And that's a Chael Sonnen, might I remind you, who fought at middleweight. And you think he's going to take on Tom Aspinall last second? No fucking chance. Now, some people speculated on Twitter that the Blade stoppage was maybe a little premature. I just think that's ridiculous. I mean, the guy got dropped, took 8 shots to the head, did nothing to defend himself intelligently. What do you think is going to happen? Like, he's gone out. The referee did a good job, in my opinion. Under Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad, Dana White described this fight as, it wasn't a barn burner. The phrase no shit springs to mind. It was fucking terrible. I'm not going to take away from Bilal Muhammad's performance, but it just wasn't entertaining. Before the fight, Leon suggested he'd be too quick for Bilal, and honestly, that was an embarrassing statement as the fight went on, because if anything, Bilal was a step ahead. He was actually beating him to the punch in the first round and hurt Leon Edwards, and just had Leon in reactionary mode all night. He was dictating the fight. He was the boss of this fight, and Leon, it was like he wasn't reacting to it. You know, this man is in your backyard, in your stadium, taking your belt from you, and you're not doing shit about it, really. Like, nowhere near enough. For a champion to lose a belt in such a way, it just feels like you're just not championship mentality then, because championship mentality doesn't allow that to happen. And I think part of this may come down to the lack of, like, finishing instincts from Leon Edwards in the past. Because Leon, when he's on top in a fight, he hits it in cruise control, right? He doesn't take unnecessary risks, and he's just happy to just cruise the fight out and not too much to try and and get the finish, because he's obviously aware that if I'm forcing the finish, I may get hurt myself. But sometimes you've got to kick it into fifth gear. And if you're too used to sitting it in second and third, and it's time to go into fifth, and you haven't been doing that enough, it can come back to bite you when it really is time to fucking pull all the tools out and go for it. If you look at Leon's last several fights, it's decision, and then the only one that wasn't, I think, was when Usman, he head kicked him, but like Usman was pretty much on his road to winning that fight. And then you look at who else was likely to get a finish. Nate Diaz nearly knocked him out, which Nate Diaz doesn't have great power, let's be fucking real here. Because he was in cruise control in that fight, because he wasn't dominating enough to put him in his place, and he let him have that chance. This is a consistent problem with mentality, in my opinion, from Leon. I don't have a problem with his skills. I think he's a hell of a fighter in skills. But maybe he's so laid back in his personality, you know, when you hear him talking, he's very chill. He doesn't switch it on enough and go, I need to fucking end this bastard. You know, some fighters are really chill out the ring, but when they get in the ring, ironically, like Terence Crawford, who I'm doing a live stream for his fight this coming weekend, who is similar in that he's extremely skillful, laid back, but in the ring, he's got that nasty edge to him. We don't see that enough from Leon. And it came back to bite him, in my opinion, because Belal Muhammad showed up like a man on a fucking mission. And I think he caught Leon off guard completely, because Leon was talking beforehand like, well, his wrestling isn't that special. He's not GSP or Khabib. And he's probably thinking, I handled Colby's wrestling, I handled Usman's wrestling, I can handle yours. And he thought wrong. Belal did a great job in being actually quicker than he thought he was going to be on the feet, getting Leon to react, to bring his hands up, to then get the fucking arms around him and take him down. I think he landed 9 takedowns out of 13. And you see in the corner, and not for the first time with Leon, as I'm just pointing out, the fucking corner men are going, don't let him bully your son. Gotta fucking, you know, get into him here. Frustrated. And because I'm used to seeing that, I know that's part of the problem here. Sometimes you need to show just how bad you want this, and it was quite clear Belal Muhammad wanted this way more than Leon did. The lack of risk taken, as that man was taking your belt away from you in your back garden, that's not championship mentality, that. And actually, as a fighter, I think that's more frustrating with yourself, because if it was a skill level thing where we just thought Leon Edwards got found out, he's not good, we know he can fight better than that, but he has to apply himself in order to bring it out, to a point where Dana White even said, look, no rematch. What's the point? Leon won 1, maybe 2 rounds, was dominant, and the rounds that Belal won were more dominant than the rounds that you could argue Leon won. And the welterweight division isn't in great shape right now in terms of like star quality and like dudes who are going to put on electric performances but also deliver on the mic. There's just not enough going on, in my opinion, to really keep the welterweight division where it once was. And look, Belal Muhammad's probably a nice guy, but it wasn't electrifying on the mic, was it? And fucking Leon's never been the best on the mic either. So like, it's just crying out for someone, a star, to take it by the balls. And I know Ian Gary at one point was sort of trying to be that guy, but like his performances lately have been flat as a fart, so you're wondering where's it coming from. But let me know in the comments below what you want to see in the welterweight division next. Now on to Paddy the Baddie, who beat Bobby Green inside 1 round, and I thought this would be a bit more of a test than that. I think Bobby Green really had a terrible game plan. Like, if there's one place I want to take advantage of Paddy, if you're an opponent, you look at the fact that he does raise his chin up. You want to start trading with him in the pocket as quick as humanly possible, because that's where Bobby should have the advantage. He seems a bit more cultured in his striking in terms of his punching, especially. Now, I'm just going to stay on the side and leg kick, which him and Paddy are about the same at, and I think Paddy actually was doing a little bit better than him, which is in perfect range for Paddy, because that is not going to expose any issues he has with his chin up in the air. And then Bobby Green shoots for a takedown on Paddy. I'm like, have you done any research on Paddy? Like, you're literally giving into where he wants this fight to go willingly. And I'm happy because I wanted Paddy to win, but you're a fucking moron for that, mate. That was, his head went. It just shows in the atmosphere in the UK, there's no way that should have been the game plan from him. His head must have gone. Now for Paddy, that couldn't have been better, because that enabled him to suck Bobby Green into a triangle. And I've been watching the UFC for 20 odd years now. I think that might be one of the deepest chokes I've ever seen sunk in. That was perfection. And I know a lot of people give Paddy a lot of shit because in terms of the star he had, especially when he came in, he was like a fucking rocket, and the fighting ability, people thought that it was a mismatch. He was going to eventually get found out and whatnot. But look, the kid is young and he's got a lot of learning. I think he is going to improve a lot on the feet. But the reality is on the floor, he is very fucking good, man. He's fucking really good. And if he can get you to the floor, he can beat most fighters in that weight class on the floor. He's class. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a bit worried for him if he does does fight a guy who is harder to get to the floor and can capitalize on some of those mistakes. But again, this buys him time to work on his game. And I really hope that he spends this time not eating burgers and pizza, but honing his skills. And that's where a lot of people worry about his commitment, because how are you really training as hard as you need to and improving as hard as you need to if you're able to get that fat off season? Even if you're not doing all the cardio, all of the practicing you're doing to improve your skills should at least be keeping the weight off. And look, he looked in fucking great shape on the night. He looked chiseled the fuck. He looked in the best shape of his life. And I'm not saying he shouldn't enjoy himself. I'm just saying, like, let's rein it in a bit, you know? But I'm happy for him, because Paddy, when he got that, dodgy decision and a lot of things on social media went against him, the mood really turned. And I've been on the receiving end of that before. It doesn't feel nice. And I'm sure as much as he's a loudmouth and as much as he's brash and cocky, things get through to the brain. Right? No one is bulletproof. And he admitted recently, I have been feeling a bit low. I have been struggling. I even nearly pulled out of this fight because the coaches were saying you're just not there. And he got hammered on social media. Oh, well, wasn't that when he was in the pub the other day when he was shouting like an idiot? It's like, do you know when people are at their most stupid and loudmouth? And, speaking from personal experience, when I've acted the biggest dickhead on live streams, it's often when you're feeling the most shit. And I empathize a little bit with that. Look, he's not perfect. And yes, he can be a dick sometimes, like we all can. He definitely could do with a little bit of advice here and there and how to conduct himself, but he got so many messages back when he opened up about his mental health saying, oh, I don't care, go and off yourself and all of this shit. And you're like, fuck me, mate. Like, he's just a UFC fighter. Oh, you can't be that depressed. He went to the pub the other day. Is that really how it works? I think that there's a humbling that Paddy is probably going through right now, and it's only going to make him a better person after all of that shit from people. And then when he does come back up, he'll probably keep himself a bit more grounded than he did the first time. But look, he's a young kid from Liverpool who probably had no money growing up, from everything I've heard. Everything came to him at once and he acted like a bit of a dickhead. Guess what? Happens to a lot of people, me included. So I just hope that, he can keep calm, keep growing as a fighter, and give the Brits another fighter to shout about, because beating Bobby Green is fucking good. It's impressive, right? And it's put him another step up the ladder. Shit's going to get harder from here on out, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about just how skillful he is moving forward. Let me know in the comments who you'd want to see him fight next, because I'm really intrigued to see what the matchmaking you've come up with. So that's the end of the UFC 304. For the rest of this week, I'm doing loads of boxing content. And this Saturday, as you've already heard, we are live. It'll probably be 1 a.m. UK time. I go live Sunday night, actually, for Terence Crawford versus Idril Madrimov, one of the best fights in boxing. Crawford, for me, is the greatest boxer in the world. Maybe Usyk can argue that, but the point is, he's fucking unbelievable. We've got Pitbull Cruz. We've got great heavyweight fights as well. And Eminem will be performing multiple tracks while I'm live on a live stream. I've always wanted to see this guy, and here I am, seeing him for the first time in LA on my live stream. What the fuck is life? I can't thank you enough. Really appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the Pain Game YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.